Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Yoder, and this is the Joshua Yoder Show. And today I get to be joined by a longtime wrestler and wearing a sweet Daredevil hat. It's Mr. Ed House. What's up,
Hi,
Ed?
I'm Josh. I'm Josh Yoder. Nice to meet everybody.
I'm
How are you, buddy?
good. How are you, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I'd throw a hat on. My hair is an absolute mess from showering, and I haven't I haven't had a haircut in about 2 months, so it's all one big fluffy, disgusting fro of a curly, wavy mop of uh greasy, oily hair.
Well, to be fair, you're busy carrying the HWF right now, so you
That's
got
true. There's a lot of credit, but I don't get the big bucks for the good Pantene Pro V. I've got to slum it with the Head and Shoulders. I can't. I got to get that in my next contract from Trista.
Well, maybe after this interview, you get yourself a raise, huh?
Yeah, I probably ask for 50 more cents at least.
Well, hey, man, but once again, thank you for being on the show, bud. And for those of you that may not know, you're a longtime wrestler, professional wrestler, that is. How many years now since it's been since you started?
I think this will be 21. I started in April of '05. You know what's funny? Actually, now that you mention it, I've got my high school diploma, and in my high school diploma is my letter from. This is so weird that it just worked out this way. My letter from Mark and Troy Mest, signed by Max Crimson. We're not going to put a shoot name out there. All the rats will be all over him. Um, let's see if there's a date on here. Yeah, the 15th of April. Okay, okay. Of 2006. So this would be 20. I just finished. Yeah, so this would be my 21st year I'm in when I hit April.
Wow. Dude, what a run.
That's terrifying.
Trying not to trying to
I
make
can't
you
stick it back in now. Oh, that's even more terrifying. If I had a dollar every time I had to say, there we go. Now she's in. Yeah, right there in my freaking high school diploma. How about that?
Oh, dude, that's awesome. And quick shout out to Mark Mess, great guy.
Ah, fuck him. Mark's fantastic.
Ah. Oh man. And try not to make you feel old, but out of your 21 years, I was involved with you guys for like 7 of those.
Yeah, you know what? I want to say probably back when we were at the Armory.
Yes.
Were you there at the middle school?
That I was there as a fan because I've been friends with Matt forever, but I did see you guys, and I
Okay.
started working with you guys when it was with the Armory.
Okay. Yeah, I got us kicked out of the middle school. That was a fun day.
Whoops.
Um, well, you know what? Everybody seemed to have a smile on their face in the photo, except the guy who makes all the decisions for the school. So that will, that's a good lesson to have, is to know who is in the house. And if your ass is out and the lights go dark, when you want to pull your tights back up. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey man, it's pro wrestling. I guess you gotta be careful sometimes, huh?
I, top five, maybe safety, maybe not first, but at least top five.
Oh man. So wow, 21 years. I mean, well, first and foremost, like what got you into professional wrestling?
I've always been a fan of it. I've got some real early memories of watching The Undertaker and Brother Love in my Aunt Sharon's house in Sussex, New Jersey, and being absolutely glued to the TV when Taker would come out, and then running for my mother when Brother Love would start talking. Some Something about the white suit, the red face just scared the bejesus out of me. And at that time I was probably 5 or 6, And then fast forward another 5 or 6 years, I'm like 11, 12, hanging out with my buddy Trav, and we were playing with action figures in my basement over the summer. And he's like, and Trav always had a stutter, and we tease him about it all the time. He's such a good fucking dude, and he's doing so much better than all of us. Um, and none of us saw it coming, which is probably why he's doing so much better than all of us. But he'd be like, "Oh, dude, we got to watch wrestling," and I'm like, "Dude, we just set up all these action figures, brother. We got war. We're going to war." And wouldn't you know, we're watching wrestling, and this dude comes down. It was Ken Shamrock and X Pac, and Shamrock had X Pac at an ankle lock. Like if you're watching wrestling, they're in the top left corner of the ring. Then this dude comes down the aisle from the crowd on the you know from hard cam looking into the audience. Comes down, hops the guardrail, hops in the ring, and just boot rapes Ken Shamrock, paintbrush right across his face, kaplow, and gets in the ring, just starts going fisticuffs on him. And it was Triple H coming back from like some knee surgery thingamajig, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. People were going absolutely batshit crazy. Just big dude, long blonde hair. And ever since then, like I've always wanted freaking long hair. And I've got this disgusting freaking mop that can't get straightened for the life of me. And and I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I've been a fan my, entire childhood. And then I'm in high school. I'm in, I think, Spanish 1 for the second time. Not that I failed it. There was just a miscommunication between like the scheduling and like guidance. So they dumped me back in Spanish 1. And even my teacher, who was at the time my neighbor, lived down the street, Bill Noble. Uh he's like, listen, you can go to the registrar and tell them that there's a mistake, or you can be a smart kid and just stay in here and ace the class and bump your GPA. And I was like, oh, look at that, Mr. Noble. He's like, okay, I got you. Um, and that's what I did. So I hung out and I'm in class with this kid, and he's like, oh, you're a wrestling fan. You should meet my friend Brock. Ha 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 ha. Why would I want to do that? He's like, well, he's a big wrestling fan too, and his stepdad is a wrestler. He has a school. And I was like, I should meet my new best friend Brock. We should absolutely meet him. Where should we meet him? And it turns out the cocksucker and I have the same birthday. So we get to talking. I go up and we all fool around in the ring for an afternoon. And it was great. It was like the epitome of, at like 15, 14, like it was awesome. And we meet Troy, I meet Mark. And this is when Mark was mobile and like almost still as big as he is now, but like mobile and like just for a guy this freaking big, like just scary fast when he needed to be. Troy still looked like a Cabbage Patch doll. He was just a big frumpy. He had the swoopy blonde hair. And but we go, we meet them, and he's like, well, you gotta be 18, 18 to work Pennsylvania. Now we go to Jersey. Maybe maybe we over here, 16. We get you in, put you in the hood. It's like, all right, I don't know what any of that means, but I heard 18, and that's in 4 years. Fuck, and I don't have the $2,000, that you want to train people. And which like at the time was cheap because like the Samoans were 5. There was a school in like the Philadelphia area that was like 7. It was fairly expensive, and even then it was 2 grand. But when you're 14 and you got a paper out, $2,000 may as well be a million. So I sat on it and I sat on it and I sat on it. And then in high school, we wrestled in our talent show, and we were all decked out with face paint and, you know, doing low blow specials. It was how they let us get away with it. I'll never know. But I remember the vice principal, big, like big, solid, jacked military dude, Eric Bonomo. I think his first name was Eric. His last name was Bonomo. Coolest cat. Dude was cooler than the other side of the pillow, man. He was such a cool dude. And our principal, Elaine Ibe, had the worst reputation. She was just like a giant bitch. But I never really had an interaction with her to get that vibe. But Bonomo was so cool that, like, if he vouched for her, then she was good, man. And like, as long as you weren't a scumbag, which I wasn't, I had no issues in high school. But Bonomo was a wrestling fan and he was a band geek. He was his old school's band director before he was a vice principal. So, like, he would come into the band room and he'd sub in when our band director would be out, and he'd be like, "All right, we're gonna go through scales." We're like, "Yeah, okay, sure we are." And he just starts like he knows what he's talking about. And he pulls me aside. He's like, "Listen, I'm gonna trust you to make sure this thing doesn't go off the rails." And like right away, he's like, put me in charge. He made me the ring general. And I was like, all right, no, like I'll make sure that this stays on the straight and narrow, that we don't break anything, that we can do this next year. Some of my buddies were pissed, but we got through it. He pulled me aside. He called me champ for like the whole rest of the year. And then I got to college and I had to shoot I went to college for art, for studio art and drawing and printmaking. And because it's a community college or a state university, they want everybody to be a well-rounded student. So they make you you got to take a biology with a lab and this and that, yada yada yada, and all the bullshit. Um, One of these was an intro to photography, especially like in the art department. You have to take all the intros before you could do anything else. So I take this intro to photography, and it's black and white silver film. So our professor's like, go out, shoot some stuff. Spoiler alert, if you shoot metal, the metal in the film will make the metal you shoot pop. It'll look really, really good. And I was like, oh man, everybody's going to shoot like a park bench or the gym and street lights in the fucking snow. And they're all going to be so boring and just visually, And I thought, that wrestling school isn't too far away, and the ring is made out of metal. I bet you I could get some cool shit out of that. So I hit up my buddy Brock. I get in touch with Troy, go down, shoot the school. At this point, it's uh, the fall of 2005, fall winter of 2005, going into 2006. Shoot the school. Thank Troy. He gives me the old, you still think about training. Yeah, I'd like to, but you guys are asking for a bit of coin, and I don't really have that on me, and college student, and living at home, blah blah blah. Oh, that was so long ago. We're trading students for $500, and I'm counting out money for them. Like, when can I start? Well, take a minute, go home, talk it over with your family. I was dating a girl who, super super religious uh, upbringing, and I kind of told her. And when you do that, it's like telling them you want to go off and like join the Peace Corps, the circus, or go be a Marine, or like it's some crazy like pipe dream, right?
Yep.
And I remember telling her like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to wrestling school." And she's looking at me like, "Oh, okay, that's okay." And then like when I sat her down, I was like, "No, no, no, like you don't understand." And I gave her the whole spiel. She was like, "You need to do this. Like you really should do this. Like this could be a thing." And didn't tell my parents right away. Then I did tell them, and they weren't like super thrilled, but they were like, "You better not give." My mother especially, like, "You better not fucking hurt yourself. That's all I'm gonna say. You better finish your fucking college." My mother sounded like Joey Diaz, uh, but like, and my dad didn't really get it. Like, I remember like having fights with like, if I wanted to play shortstop for the fucking Yankees, you'd be all over this, but it's because it's something you can't fucking do, old man. You know, and we had our battles and shit, and that was about it. But then once once they kind of saw that I was training and okay physically, and I wasn't like, man, this is not what I thought it would be. There really wasn't any of that. Um, so they never really got to see like the shits of it, so to speak. And they were like, all right, you need to at least finish, you got to finish school. That's non-negotiable. And you got to work and you got to do this, you got to do that. And if all that stuff is good, I got no problem with you doing this, but it comes second to it, second, third, fourth to everything else. And I was like, yeah, okay, not a problem. Then I blew out my ACL
Oh.
and wrestled for like another 2 or 3 years with no ligament. And then finally got surgery after my old man laid me off and I was on unemployment, which was like perfect timing. And it all just seemed to kind of like work out. And within like 4 months, I was back wrestling after an ACL reconstruction. And that's kind of how I broke in. Um, and then at the time, the Mark and Troy school, they bought it from Jimmy Dio. And at the time, they made a lot of their business in rentals. The problem was that they'd go to the rentals and they'd be the boys with the ring and they would steal the show. Ronnie Reigns and Max Havoc and Cabby and Rico Suave and, um, Mark and Troy. Chio Frost was a part of that group with Tony Reyes, who I haven't seen, and he got a little fat, but I remember him wearing a New York Ranger jersey, and I was like, "This guy's all right. He's pretty cool." And no, Chio was in my first match. Um, but Tony was there, I think. And it was one of those things that like all these guys were known for being like guys that can fucking go. So then I'd get in the ring and I trained with them all. And then my buddy Derek, who was wrestling as this ghetto superstar, was his like normal gimmick, but then he was also Nightmare, my buddy Derek was a big guy, and it was one of those things where it's like, oh, like okay, so there's the ability to do more than one thing. What do I want to do? And I still have no idea really what I'm doing, but I was around a lot of good people who like knew how to work, and I had a really strong work ethic, and I still do. Um, and I wanted to do it so much that it I don't want to say like it came naturally because a lot of it did, but some of the once I figured out I could do move XYZ, it was like, all right, why would I do this? When would I do this? How can I do this differently and it still be okay and the other guy still be safe and me still be safe? So I had to ask a lot of questions, and I think that worked out in my favor because a lot of guys then like went to bat for me. I think when it was time to give me a match.
Well, yeah,
Um,
it's funny you say that because I think that's kind of like a lost art when it comes to pro wrestling in general, because a lot of people are so focused on the moves and not really focusing on like what they feel comfortable doing out there, because you won't know what you got until you actually go out there in front of a crowd.
yeah, to an extent, and it's it's weird too because I had a conversation. I ended up working a program for Ray Torres in regional championship wrestling, which was out of Reading, and I was working Ricky Reyes, who was doing the Cortez Castro. He had just come off of Lucha Underground, not too long, I think, after like Lucha Underground. He was back on the Indies, and I was nervous as shit. And at this point, I'm 15, 10, 12, 15 years in, something like that, and I'm like nervous as fuck. And he's like, "Hey, like we're gonna be," because he's calling like just and I'm like, I can't remember all that. There's absolutely no way, and I still can't. I can't remember matches like that. And I remember telling him like, "Hey, would you mind calling that? Because I can't remember all that." I go, "I just that's not how I was like trained to work. Like I can remember a couple, and then like if we plan too much stuff and they're not feeling it, like then what?" He's like, "Well, it's our job to plan shit that they're into." And he kind of looked at me like I was a retard. And and I kind of remember looking at him going, "Oh yeah, that like I'm retarded. That makes so much sense." And if I'm thinking of all that stuff, like I should be able to remember it, like because then it's my match. And I've always felt like if I'm wrestling somebody else's match, I can't remember fuck all, right? But if I'm wrestling my match and I'm thinking about it and I kind of know what I want to do before I get there, I'm usually okay. Um, and then I'll just get nervous all over again. And that's still like to this day kind of how I operate. Like, okay, I know who I'm wrestling, and I kind of have an idea of what booker promoter guy wants. Um, I think I know what I want to do. And then you get there, it's like, oh, well, that guy's car got fucking T-boned. He ain't making it. Or he got rear-ended, or he got pulled over, with some midget hookers and 4 grams of blow. He ain't coming now. And you're like, oh, well, there goes all those ideas. So I really tried like the last like 5, 6 years ago, or the last 5 or 6 years to just like I'm just show up and whoever they put me in the ring with, like, all right, what do you want to do? What do you like to do? What do you like to take? Okay, cool. You're over? Okay, cool. This is what I do. Is that cool? Or what do you do? Okay, cool. Oh, I don't know about that. I got work tomorrow, brother. I gotta give a presentation. Or I'm traveling. I can't go to Tennessee with black eye because you do a knee drop to the head off the top rope, and stuff like that. So because it changes so rapidly and so fast, and I've only really said no twice. Um, and one time was a situation where like me and a guy had a banger match planned, and the promoter was like, "Hey, we want to make your match a triple threat. Is that cool?" And I was like, "Oh no, like we've worked to this spot for so long. This is where we are. We're gonna go out. We're gonna give you the best match this company's ever seen." And I'd be willing to bet in the last, I don't know when this place went under. Um, but the last 10 years of them having shows, we probably gave that company one of the best matches it's ever freaking seen. Um, so it's problematic when then you've got all this shit called and all this stuff planned, and they go, "Oh, we're not doing that." Or we get all this stuff planned, and then it's, "Oh shit, I think I just tore my hamstring," or I just dislocated my elbow or my shoulder, or I just got my nose broken. Oh shit, what are we gonna do now? So I really try not to plan a whole lot of stuff beforehand until I'm like, all right, I know I'm supposed to be wrestling uh fucking Jimmy Crackcorn, and I've been stalking his MySpace or his Facebook or his, OnlyFans, and I know what he looks like. I've seen his wiener. Okay, I think that's him. That's him. I'm gonna go introduce myself, say hello. Okay, that's definitely him. Now I can start thinking about what we're doing. Oh wait, I gotta talk to the booker, make sure everything is still good. He didn't bring another 2 students with him or a guy with him or something like that, where he's gonna want to wrestle them and fuck me, and now I don't have a job. Okay, everything's good. Now I can start thinking about what I want to do, and
Yeah.
it's really taken some of the stress
Well,
out of the ball game, so to speak.
well, yeah, no, absolutely. Because one of the things I've learned from you guys in all the years is that if you're nervous and stressed, that's usually a good thing because that means you're focused and you're trying to make sure you protect yourself and other people. Because when
Yeah,
you normally when you're not worried or stressed, that's usually could possibly lead to a problem or you're reckless.
yeah, or like I don't care. Like I don't care. There's not a whole lot of people here. Or like the rat that said she was gonna come, she's not here, so I can't get blown in the parking lot. Like, I don't care. Yeah, I do nothing. Yeah, like, and it's weird, but like, I mean, I've had conversation with guys who are like, yeah, I was gonna do all this stuff, but like, my girl came, or this one chick couldn't come, or this one guy couldn't come, and I was gonna, oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, how the fuck do I get out of this conversation? And it's it's shitty, but that element is there where people just like, for whatever reason, they tune out, and you can't get them. You can't get them back in, and then yeah, that can get dangerous, man. Because then it's like, oh shit, I got a plancha call to the outside. Like, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. And depending on where you're at in the business and all that stuff. If you're working with a guy who's been in a while and he's got like an I don't give a fuck attitude, and you're younger, or you haven't been in, or you don't have that experience, because you could be in the business for like 4 years, but you're doing a ton of shit and you're getting all that like the AEW and the WWE stuff and the ID, and you're wrestling all these guys. You wrestling fucking 2, 3 times a weekend. Or you got a double shot Saturday. You just came from a Friday night. You got a Sunday afternoon. You picked up a fucking Tuesday booking in Georgia. And all that shit's out there. That guy, he might be 4 years in the business, but he's way more experienced than the 10, 15, 20-year vet who's doing one show a year in his fucking hometown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like all of a sudden now you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do this spot with this guy because his head's not in the game. And that's a really awkward conversation to have if you're not used to having hard conversations. It's
Yeah.
weird how much like wrestling related stuff has helped me in my real life job, you know. Um, tell us the time you had to resolve a conflict. Well, this guy I had to wrestle, I hate his fucking guts, and he hates my fucking guts, and we got to make sure we don't go out there and kill each other. I got to make sure this guy don't drop me on my fucking dome, split my wig open, and put me in a hospital for 3 days. I can go back home to my family. That's all real stuff. That's all
Yeah.
real stuff that
Yeah.
happens, and it's always weird when those questions come up in interviews, and there I am talking about pro wrestling, and they want to hear no at work. Yeah, this was work. I made $40 that night, bud. You don't understand. And I got 2 hot dogs. Like, I was working that night.
That's rich right
15,
there.
15 hour day, but I was working. I got that $40, brother. And it's crazy, but sometimes that stuff happens, and you just have to really make sure you've got like a good support group. Or a lot of times guys will drive out with people, or even if like they're the only wrestler in their car and they've got 3 other workers with them, you know that happens a lot. Then it's, oh well, you know homeboy and I just called the match, and now he's mulling it over with his fucking clan over there, and any minute now they're going to come back and tell me they don't want to do this spot, they don't want to do that spot, they don't want to take too much heat, his homies are going to get involved, blah 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 blah. And sometimes that happens, and sometimes it's, hey, no, everything's good, you got it, you want to go over it again. um but you kind of have to just have those conversations, and then having like a really good support group of friends and colleagues, um to just bounce stuff off of. And that's something I learned early. Like, you can have a bunch of people tell you, good shit, kid, good shit, way to sell, good bumps, kid. And then it's like, all right, where's Jason and John, because those guys are going to be honest with me. And then you sit down with them and they're like, well, you little too long in the beginning. A lot of baby stepping around. You did this, and then you did this right away. You should have given that a little bit more time. You also worked his leg and then shot him off the ropes, or you took an eye poke and then you reversed an Irish whip. Stuff to think about. And also, you're doing this ballerina thing when you're sending guys into the corner. I don't know what that's all about, but it looks gay. Get rid of it. And that's the stuff that will become very important. And that's what I think going to art school for me really helped, is that I could put a lot of stuff into something and then have somebody go, are you sure about that? Maybe you want to turn that upside down and it'll look better. So I didn't really take anything personally. It was all really good constructive criticism. And I learned who to listen to and who not to listen to. So if you couldn't give me a reason of how to make something better, I kind of didn't take your opinion that seriously.
Well,
Um,
to be honest
you
with
know,
you, too, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying too, because one of the things I will say about like we mentioned Mark Mest earlier, he always would say, look at the positives, like what he would always ask you, what do you like and what didn't
yeah,
you? And a lot
yep,
of people, for some reason, like they have no problem like being, which don't get me wrong, if they like what you did, that you like, they like what you did. But if there's
mhm,
things about it that obviously no match is perfect. So I think it's important for a lot of wrestlers today to realize like, oh no, just because they didn't like that spot doesn't mean you can't make it better. That they're just
yeah,
saying look as good as you were hoping for.
yeah, and it's okay to give people something that they don't necessarily like. It's not okay to put out a bad product, I think, but it's okay to give them something that they don't like. Um, I think, especially now with Unreal and all the eyes on pro wrestling and all of the podcast guys and the behind the scenes stuff, I think everybody wants to talk about, oh, well, that's the Vince thing, man. Vince would always be like, never send the crowd home upset, man. So, that's what we're. But you can't get Endgame without Infinity War. You can't get Return of the Jedi without The Empire Strikes Back. You can't get Backdoor Sluts 9 without Backdoor Sluts 1 through 8. You know what I mean? You have to you have to take people through that, and that's the name of the game. Is you got to take them through the ebbs and the flows, and the only way you can get them up is to bring them down. But then you just have to make sure that what you're going to give them is what they want, and it's okay to give them something that they didn't ask for, that they don't like, that is going to question whether or not they believe in wrestler ABC. It's just it's not okay to go out there and phone it in though. You've still got to execute, you still got to be safe, you still got to take care of your opponent, you still got to get over, but it's okay to oh, I did there's a story some who the hell was telling me. Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly at a Ring of Honor seminar talked about a spot that Mike Mondo had. Mikey from the Spirit Squad. Mike Mondo had a like a 10-second it was going to be a match and it just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And anybody who's in wrestling, especially TV wrestling, right, will tell you that this shit happens all the time. You've got a match, then oh well, you've got it's more of a squash. Well, you know what? It's not even that. It's a backstage segment. You're going to get pushed, and then you know what? You had 2 minutes. Now you have 90 seconds. Mike Mondo ended up getting shrunk to like 10 seconds, and all he did was headbutt a locker and bleed. Drove like 6, 7 hours to do the spot. Headbutts to the locker, starts to bleed. That got him booked for like 2.5 years, almost like 3 years, something like that. Kevin was saying, just because of this one, he made the most out of that 10 seconds, and I think it's really really tough to take folks who are not used to a certain level of criticism or a certain level of chaos, and then drop them in a situation where things get exponentially smaller or bigger, and it happens at the last second. The red light's on. They say go. They point to you, and you have to be ready to do something. Um, I think I just got really lucky going through art school, then getting into wrestling, and going, okay, I kind of understand this aspect. That's me putting my drawing up on the wall. The boys in the back are my classmates telling me that they like it or don't like it. But if nobody can tell me why they didn't like it, or that they didn't like it, but they can't tell me how to make it better, I don't know if I value that opinion. Um, this one guy, he always says the same shit. Is he worth making a brand new picture for? Or do I need to sit and go, okay, listen, I've put up 4 stinkers. Something's not right. I need to get in the ring and train more. I need to spend more time looking at other artists. I need to spend more time drawing, sketching, understanding anatomy, figuring out composition, working through um, this, that, and the third. More time in the gym, better tan, talk to somebody about custom gear, blah, 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 blah. Then I'm going to put my drawing back up on the wall and I'm going to see what happens. And it's, fucking ain't, I tell you what, kid, good shit, dude, good shit. You know, good job, good on you, bud. Okay, and now we got something. What did I change? Maybe I didn't change anything. I just got different underwear on, or different boots, or I got a tan, or I lost 60 pounds, or I put on 50 pounds. Sometimes it all depends where you are. Hey, that match was really good in Lewistown, but that match would be dog shit. I get booed out of the building in Philly, or it wouldn't work in New Jersey or in New York. It's you can't
Yeah.
do it because it involved this person, you know. So some of it's timing and understanding your audience, and some of the stuff, you know, we were kind of talking about before we jumped on here. But you know, I think a lot of time too, it's just kind of knowing um what you have, what you bring to the table, what you can do, and then how much you're going to let the feedback from other people influence what you do next.
Yeah, and to add to what
Mm.
your point of what you said earlier about like people doing it too, like you have to change things up every once in a while, especially if
Yeah,
you're running like a weekly show. So if you
yeah,
don't do anything different every once in a while or showcase something different every once in a while, people are going to get bored, and it's
yeah.
kind of leads to some of the weird comments you see on the internet.
Well, I mean, some of that depends. I mean, there's also some weird people on the internet.
No, that's fair.
Um,
That's fair.
but you know what? To each their own. Because $20 is $20, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, jeez.
Um, yeah. Uh, um,
But going back to
but
your I'll say, but going back to your career, Ed, like when I first met you, I always felt like you were like a traditional style wrestler. So, like, what by that time when I came in, how would you say who would be your big influence as a wrestler at that point?
oh, it's Triple H. I've stolen everything I could from Triple H, and then the more time I spent, you know, I remember growing up, and I really liked Triple H because he was a bad guy, and everybody loved Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I hated Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I loved Triple H. Um, and I didn't, you know, of course I thought I got it. Like, I fucking know, I know, man, I know, fucking, I know. And I always thought, man, it would be cool to be in a spot like Triple H, to be that main bad guy, talk like The Rock, have a presence like Taker, uh, but like the showmanship of Jericho, you know, and it would be cool to do all that. And then, you know, you start training and you start kind of getting the education, and it's like, oh, none of that would make any sense, right? It's you know, uh, the hot water burn baby and Rain Man, you know, like it would be too trippy, you know. There's
Right.
so much going on. Plus, then none of those characters are interesting if they're all one person. So the more all right, I sit back, I'm gonna watch the old school technical, you know, I say old school, it's you know, fucking you know, like Kurt Hennig, Bret Hart, SummerSlam '92, bro. You know, the match that everybody tells you to watch 100 times because it's phenomenal and rightfully so. Um, but you know, you start to watch some of that stuff. It's like, oh, man, you know, why did I hate Steve Austin? Like, why didn't I watch any Stan Hansen and Terry Gordy? And who's Eddie? Who the hell is Eddie Gilbert? Why was nobody talking about this stuff?
No, I agree.
And
I agree.
it's I think some of it only works so much because fans, especially today, are used to seeing clips and it's all highlights and it's 3 seconds move, clip, 3 seconds move, clip, it's spot, 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 and there's no breath. So those spots, like they almost don't mean anything because you're not emotionally invested in the lead up to it.
Well, yeah, and
So
to add to your point too, like when you said about people going in spots, a lot of these kids today think like a lot of this stuff is all brand new, when in reality, people have been using this philosophy for like ever in pro wrestling. It's nothing
Yeah.
new.
Yeah, and it was so basic because it was easy to understand, and everybody can understand. Guy goes out, yells at a kid, hits the ring. Babyface comes out, raises the kid's hand, maybe walks the kid around the ring, scares the guy in the ring, sits the kid down. Now, okay, that's the bad guy. I'm the good guy. Here we go. The bad guy's tossing me around. I get up on him, send him out of the ring. Now everybody's laughing at him. He comes back in, he trips, he falls. It's all basic stuff, and it's easy to understand. The folks in Lewistown may not understand 100% Ricochet and Will Ospreay. They may not understand, you know, Kyle O'Reilly and Hangman Page, but they might really understand like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And you kind of have to know the folks you're dealing with to give them something that they can understand and that they can digest so that you can get over. If you do too much and they can't react to it, like, yeah, they might react because it's cool shit, but oh, that's the guy. He does all this cool shit. Yeah, yeah. And then by the time you're telling your buddies about all the cool shit that's going on, it's already happened and you missed it, or you kept them from seeing it. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, that's a fat old guy in a t-shirt who fucking can't do all that cool shit." And yeah, there's some truth to that. I can't do all that cool shit, but I can still work anywhere, work anybody, and get over.
Is it also fair to say too, like fans also like I mean, this is just my opinion from from my days, but it's like is it also important like chemistry and the people that you work with? Not saying like
Yeah,
you may not have the best chemistry like with people, but not that you guys hate each other or they're bad people. It's just sometimes you work better with others.
I cannot wrestle, nor will I ever wrestle again. Fox Viner, nothing against him, and we wrestled once in like Easton Bethlehem area. We wrestled again for Kakoa, and we both were. I think we were both kind of like looking at each other out of the corner of our eye, like we've done this before, and it did not go well. And we couldn't quite figure it out. And then finally, he's like, we're gonna fucking show him. We can fucking do. We're gonna fucking show him. We could do this. And I was like, fuck yeah, like well, let's go. And we didn't show nobody nothing. Um, it was just bad. And you know, I'm a decent worker. He's a great worker. We couldn't gel. We couldn't get on the same page. And then it's you meet a guy for the first time and boom, it's like where have you been my entire life? I feel like I've known you forever. And it's just the damnedest thing how that works and how that takes place and then how it expands and blows up. And now you're wrestling this guy everywhere. And it's absolutely crazy how you can have two guys who are super good and get it and just can't sync up. The parts don't. There's something inside one of them. We don't know which one, but they don't go together.
And
And
sometimes something can go wrong too in the match. Always seems that something happens during the matches too.
yeah, and there's been a lot of times where like I've been in matches and I thought, oh fuck, like that hurt. And you start thinking about how do we change the end. Um, and some guys are cool, and some guys it's you can't change it. You got to go A to Z because if you take out L, they LMNOP themselves, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but I think that just goes back to me having the ability to go, all right, hold on, snapmare, chinlock, hey dude, I think I shit my pants. I'm also wearing white trunks. We need to go home 5 seconds ago, you know, or hey, are you okay? Oh, you dislocated your shoulder, you think? Oh shit. Well, let's lay you down and let's talk about how we're gonna get through this. What do what do you need? What should I do for you that will make you, because I can do stuff to you and you can just lay here. But if it starts giving you problems, I need you to tell me somehow. Back off, grab the ref. Hey, you blah 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 blah. Talk some shit, talk some shit, talk some shit, or start. Here we go, folks. Now we fucking got it. Now we fucking okay. Okay, cool. You know, and to just take that and bring it down a peg, and you just have to be in control of what's going on and hear what the people are giving you and know what you have called and know where you need to get to. And honestly, and if all else fails, it's a fucking roll up or a count out, or it doesn't have to be magic or magical rocket science. It can be real basic, easy, simple stuff.
And it's also
And
safer.
yeah, and it is, and at the end of the day, I've always felt that pro wrestling is sweet precision and soft collision, and we all go home at the end of the day to our families like nothing happened to us at all.
Yeah.
Because if you want to wrestle at that level on high, you can't go out there and kill each other every night. You won't have a job. And that's easy for me to say because I've never been one of those guys. But you know, you can't not tell me that there's folks who have that mentality. Kevin Nash is that way. If you listen to some of his podcasts, it's like, oh fuck, I'd much rather wrestle this guy who does bullshit every night and I'm not gonna get beaten to hell than do a 10-day run with Goldberg, because you can go to the gym the next morning and do what you need to do because nothing really hurts.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You don't
It's funny you
you
say
don't
that.
want to get all beaten to hell. And then
Right.
for what? For a bunch of people who know it's not real, and we're out here killing each other to prove to them that it is real, so that we can go on Facebook and Instagram and take photos with each other because it's not real. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, no,
So
I hear
it's
you. I hear you
you know
because it kind of reminds me of a story of I was listening to JJ Dillon, and he was sitting there
okay.
talking about how he goes, we like working the Road Warriors because we're going to draw a lot of money with them because man, these guys, but it's going to be a stiff match. But if
Yeah,
they
they're gonna beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, and again, nothing wrong with that. That's just how it is. But they said if they wanted to have like great wrestling or like consistent like technical wrestling, they said they would love to work with the Rock and Roll Express or like
Mhm.
Midnight Express. So it's different. I guess it's just different philosophies, but also the understanding of like, well, hey, this is just how it's going to be.
Yeah, and I think that there's definitely time and place for. All right, guys, listen. This is what they want. Unfortunately, it means we're gonna beat the dog shit at you. Now it's only gonna be this one show. It's gonna be quick and easy. But how you want it, boy? You want a closed casket, open casket? Where you? We gonna fuck you up? Yeah, and there's a time and a place for all that stuff. Um, and it's no different than your deathmatch wrestling or that hardcore wrestling. If it's all that and it's all kind of floating around the middle, maybe it loses its luster. If you can use it and highlight it, then you can build towards it and make it important. But if everything is up here, that next little jump isn't that impressive. And if we're working up here and we do that and then somebody gets hurt, like could we have gotten the same reaction if we kept it right here the whole time and then slowly worked up to this and then pow? I'll get hurt doing this and be okay if we give them the curve. But that could just be me too. And I'm a 20-year guy who's done fucking nothing, gone fucking nowhere, but I can still wrestle, I feel, because I know what I'm bringing to the table. I'm realistic about my role in the totem pole, and that's the other thing is, you know, everybody wants to be the man, but they don't want to do any work. You can't get max results out of minimal effort. And if you want to be that top cat, working the names and carrying 25 titles and all that shit. Like that's cool. But then like when it comes time to go, you gotta go. And when it comes time to deliver and do what you're told to do, you gotta be able to do that.
And
And you
honestly, and to
can't.
add to your point with that too, because one of my things has always been I want to just be able to make some sort of impact. Like, and I feel like, I mean, obviously you want to be the heavyweight champion, we all do, but I also think it's important to like fit in like somewhere in the card, like to help other people. Like any match, I think could be important to help better the show or better the card.
Yeah. And if you've got something that will make the show better, then that's a really good way to get get booked. Um, if you've got a gimmick or a shtick or merch that maybe nobody else does, that's a good place to start. Um, you have to be ready then to take some of the things that come with that. Maybe it's squash matches, maybe it's driving 4 hours and them going, we house was light, kid. Uh, sorry. Oh, don't worry. I made $350 on merch. Like whatever you pay me is whatever. And that's why people didn't like the Red Scorpion when he first started wrestling. You know, Scorpion came in, he was on the gas, open about it, uh, and had so much different ridiculous merch that he was making money hand over fist, baby. And it was pissing off the boys because they were like, "Who the fuck's this guy? Who the fuck this guy? He's fucking come in, take my fucking spot in Lancaster and fucking." That guy knows what the fuck he's doing. What's your fucking problem? And he's also look around. Look how many people are wearing Red Scorpion t-shirts or bandanas and have their fucking face painted. Come with me. You're gonna shake his hand and thank him for the fucking house is what you're gonna do. Yeah, and there's not a whole lot of extra thought that goes into some of that. And if you approach it like a business, it can be that way. The downside of that is maybe you don't get a lot of work because hey, I can work for you for $50 and I've got merch. And if you'll allow me to sell it, that's great. I mean, I've done shows where the promoter was like, you've got to sell 10 tickets before you can set up a merch table. If you don't sell 10 tickets for me, you can't sell merch. Um, so like to go from like those two extremes to then have a guy who's like, oh, well, I'll work for you for $50 and normal stuff. If you want me to work more than one match, I'll do it for 60. If you want me to work any kind of crazy shit, it's 75. If you want me to bleed, it's 100. And if you put a title on me, it's 150. Because now I've got to commit to you and I have to turn down other bookings and I have to make the drive and blah blah blah. And that might sound crazy to guys, but that's a guy who's going, all right, well, this is a business. And I can buy lawn care service at this rate. And if I want them to weed whack, well, then it's a little more. If I want them to edge, it's a little more. If I want them to bag the clippings, it's a little more. Now I get this package and I want them to just throw the clippings on my fucking neighbor's sidewalk. Well, maybe it's a little less. But nobody bats an eye at that. But you have to also then be, well, are you worth $50? My tickets are 20. Can you sell me 2 tickets? Well, what do you got for me to put me in a spot where I can sell you 2 tickets? I tell you what, I'll do this first show for you for nothing. Then you tell me if I'm worth that $50, and then it's, oh, well, all of a sudden, well, I was. Now that's, now it's going to cost you $100. You want to book because now we can play fuck. And I've heard those conversations in locker rooms, and I thought, God, the ball's on this fucking guy. I gotta text that to my wife. This is fantastic. You will not believe what this fucking guy is doing. Remind me to do this when I take, but and it's crazy. But some of that stuff, everybody wants to talk about the business. Business, brother, it's a business, yeah. But when guys start making business decisions, all of a sudden people get their fucking feelings hurt. Like, Give me a break, you know.
Yeah, no,
I don't.
I hear you on that. I mean, I definitely think there's some unfortunate, politics that go involved in it, but still, ultimately, it is still a business, and you all got to find ways to make money together, and that's the whole point, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. And what do you contribute to the locker room? Are you a guy? I just saw a clip. This dude Damian Slater, phenomenal worker, does a lot of online stuff, coaching and seminars and stuff. And one of his things was like, what kind of guy are you in the locker room? Are you a guy that like you can't control your fucking emotions and everybody has to walk on eggshells around you, or you're drunk, or you're high, or you're this, or you're that? If you're like a problem in the locker room, like you could be the best worker, but nobody's gonna want to fucking deal with you. Um, and there's been plenty of times where we've had guys in locker rooms, and it's like, you can go back there, but Jimmy's fucking two girls in the shower,
Oh,
and when he's done, tell him his wife's out looking for him. One of the kids is sick, and you have to like, you know, you have to make that decision. Like, all right, so I'm seeing, especially when you're young, is I'm seeing all this stuff. What's the guy at the top doing? What's the guy in the middle doing? What's the guy who opened? Oh, I'm the guy that opened the show. Okay, well, the guy in wrestling, what the fuck's he doing? He acts this way. He acts this way. The guy at the top was out early. He was shaking hands with everybody who was coming in. He was shaking hands after the match, after he lost or after he won with the title. He was shaking everybody's hand on the way out. Huh. Okay. Uh, that's a good example. When I get the chance, if I get the chance, I'd like to do something like that. Um, and those that all kind of just goes back to like, okay, well, what can you offer? If you can offer something positive, there's a good chance that you'll be welcome. If you can continue to offer something positive, there's a good chance you'll be asked back. If you're contributing and people are asking about you and wanting to see you, there's a good chance then that you will keep coming back. Now you got to think about how you can make some money. Oh, do you have T-shirts? Do you have stickers? Do you have photos? Do you have this? Do you have that? And that's all good stuff, but it all costs some cheddar cheese. None of that shit's expensive. None of that shit is cheap, and there's cheaper ways to do it. But then the last thing you want to do is give somebody a subpar product and then be, oh, I got a fucking sticker from you and I fucking put it on my car. It fucking came off next day in the rain. Fucking waste of a fucking dollar. Yeah. Well, hey, sorry. Here's two more. I don't know what to tell you. Or it's, ooh, shit, really? Oh, who else have I sold stickers to? Hey, did I sell you a sticker? What'd you do with it? How was it? Oh, it didn't hold up well. You know what? Okay, we're gonna make this right. Hey, here's a signed photo, or here's a trading card, or here's hey, t-shirt. Normally $20. Here it is for 5. Because you maybe I may have inadvertently fucked you over here. And you can do good business with individual people, and then that word spreads, and then as long as you're a relatively decent human being and you fucking shower, you're probably going to be asked back. So it's really just making sure that, like you said, you can offer something positive, keep doing that, and I don't know, just keep doing it. I suppose.
yeah.
And
Well, and
I mean, and that's worked for me. I've gotten by on, oh, well, we're gonna get there. We'll help set the ring up, or we'll stay late. We'll help take the ring down, and okay, we'll do this, we'll do that. Um, you know what? I'm fourth. Okay, so I want to talk to the guys who are in match 2 and 3 and 5 and 6 and see what they're doing. I don't want to do anything they're doing. Oh, you guys are doing that spot? Shit. No, 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 no. We'll change it. That goes a long way with some of the guys too, and just being a team player and you know hearing hearing everybody out and helping one another out, fucking squirting guys with water, letting guys borrow tape, and which is shit. I mean, I don't do that anymore. That's probably the one thing I stopped doing is letting guys borrow fucking tape. Um, which is a dickhead, but like Tape's fucking expensive, and
It
it's the
is.
one thing we should all have. You can't go to school without a pencil. Don't go to a show without any fucking tape.
Well,
Um,
speaking of doing things for a team, one of the things that one of my most exciting moments since I got to meet you and all the guys was you got to be part of a series in WWE where you got to be a, security guy and you actually got to be
yeah.
in the ring with your favorite wrestler Triple H. Like, how did that come about, and what was that like for you?
So, fucking Aubrey, man. Aubrey kind of helped set that whole thing up. There was what was it called? WWE Recruit, I think, was the website. And one of these guys had like fucking leaked it. And Bill Bain has done a ton of work for them. And I think I remember talking to Bill like if it was legit. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's the real deal." So then I talking to Aubrey, who is one of the guys in the area who is really good friends with, I think, one of the referees or one of like the producers. Um, and hooks him up with some travel, and has gotten really really close with this guy at WWE. And then he was like, "Hey man, like you ever walk out on TV? You let me know, baby. I'll take care of it for you. You're my boy. I got you." Oh, okay, Aubrey. Yeah, sure. And then the next thing I know, oh shit, that's that guy, and then that's some. Hey brother, hey, good. I saw you on Raw. It's good shit. Oh yeah, dude, fuck Aubrey hooked me up. What? You know. So the whole thing goes about, and we had, I think, this was no, this was like right before, but um we had done a show, and I was working for Bridgestone, where I'm at now, and I was working second shift, and I got a call during our tailgate at 4 o'clock, which was like really strange. Didn't answer it, went to voicemail. Um, After our meeting, I go to the bathroom. Listen, hey, this is, fucking so and so from World Wrestling Entertainment. We'd be curious if you want extra work. It's here, there, we're in Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Uh, Call us back, let us know. Goodbye. Click. And I thought, fuck, I just blew it, because I didn't answer the call. Call the lady back. We get it all scheduled, we get it all hooked up. And it took like 2 or 3 days to get all this hammered out. And it was like up to like it was a Monday and a Tuesday, and it took like up to like the Friday before, to get it all straightened out. So of course I'm sweating bazookas, which is a great Cole Calloway line, and um, it was like, all right, we're gonna go. We get to the arena in Pittsburgh, and there's like 9 of us, and I see like one guy that I know, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. All right, so it's Terry Ring. I was like, hey, Terry, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Oh, it's all good, blah, blah. We get to talking. And there's one guy there who it was very clear like he had done this before, to the point where like he's talking to the crew on like a first name basis. So right away you're like, this guy's just a fucking douchebag. You want to break his nose. Um, Turned out he was like one of the coolest guys there. Um, I ended up wrestling him like 2 weeks later. The guys that I was in my segment with, I still talk to this day. We've never seen each other since. And every now and again, I message them. Every time the anniversary of our fucking thing comes up in March, I let them know that I was so pumped to meet him. And I see the one guy, Ben Boone. I see him on TV all the time, and it makes me so fucking happy and he's lost a ton of weight. He looks like a fucking stud. He's a realtor. He's he's fucking crushing it. He's fucking crushing it. The other guy, Justin Maine, he's an actor in Michigan, just fucking crushing it. Both these guys are kicking ass. And I feel so like lucky to have met them and known them and get to bullshit with them. And we all shared this one thing, and it was so fucking cool. And like, I don't know. It like I wish, and that's what I like about the Unreal series, is that it really shows that like brotherhood of wrestling. I wish more people got to see that. because like that really makes me emotional thinking about all that shit. But anyway,
Well, I
you know,
love this. I love the spot you did with Triple H where like he's beating up all these guys and then he's standing in the ring. He turns and you're standing right there and you're like, huh? And then you just
nope,
duck.
see ya. So
How,
they
how'd you
tell
come
us
up with that?
they tell you, well, we did what we were fucking told, brother. Um, they tell us, when you get there, sign in. You're looking for this person. They'll take you to catering. Sit, eat. By all means, hang out. Don't talk to anybody. Don't fucking look unless they talk to you first. Don't don't engage with anybody. So this is like mid to end March. It's the fucking push of push to WrestleMania. Everybody is just fucking laser focused, and you know they really want to make sure that we know our fucking place, which also contradicts everything we've been told because you always walk up, introduce yourself, as a show of respect. So I remember being in catering. It's like me, two other people, like crew folks, and then fucking Kane walks in, and he's in jeans and a polo, and I'm like, oh man, like I don't want to, like he's grabbing like watermelon, and I don't want to like be like, hi, you're Kane, I'm Ed, nice to meet, but I also don't want to be a douchebag because I'm fucking standing right next to this guy. So I go, hey, nice to meet you. We're here for whatever. He's like, oh, hey, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Blah 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 blah. And it was cool. And I was like, all right, like this isn't like they're all just people. I'm gonna be okay. On the inside, my heart's going a million miles an hour, and I'm totally geeking out. But they're like, go sit in catering. If they need you, they'll find you. So we go, we get checked out, we get physicals, we're doing all this shit. And at some point, there's just three of us sitting in there. And I want to say his name begins with a C. I forget, but I think his first name is Matt. And he was like one of the big show producers. He was always like by the announcers during the show. He comes up, he grabs us. He's like, all right, what size shirts do you wear? And he's tossing security shirts at us. He's like, we need three guys for this thing with Paul Heyman. You guys are going to be like security for him. And then Triple H is going to cut a promo. You're going to go out with Paul. Something's going to happen. Brock's going to come out. And we were like, Brock Lesnar, Triple H. Paul Heyman. It's like this, like, so this is like WrestleMania main event angle that we're, getting fucking thrust into. And it's like, well, none of us will probably have to get F5'd. However, some of us are going to get pedigreed, spine buster, fucking clothesline over the top rope, thrown, whatever. So they bring us down to the ringside, introduce us to Paul Heyman, introduce us to Triple H. We go through the whole thing. We work out 2 or 3 ways we could do this. We figure out a way that feels good for everybody. And then we're done. We're all hanging out by the ringside. And then Michael Hayes goes, hey, are you getting all you need out of these 3? Like, you don't want to hit one with a spine buster or a pedigree or something. And at the time, it was throw both guys over the ring. He looks at me and I fucking bail, right? I tuck tail and chicken shit run away. And he's on the headset and he's talking. And then it clicks like, oh, he's talking to Vince McMahon, who's just like in the fucking 70 feet that way, and fucking Vince McMahon, man, and you kind of have to like control your fucking nerd boner. And then he's like, no, he goes, the old man wants the wrong guy. And I thought, all right, cool. And he's like, and you want him? He's like, yeah. And I thought, is that because there's something about me that screams giant pussy, or is it because I'm just the biggest one of the 3? Now Ben was a little bulky. Justin was just fucking jacked. He was shredded. Not shredded, but he was like you don't need to have that many muscles on your fucking shoulder, brother. You know what I mean? Like he was and he's always been in really good shape. And he was dancing. He was doing like this fucking capoeira shit at the time. And like working in it was gimmick, and it was pretty fucking cool. He had like this flash kick gimmick finish or like a big swinging fucking like almost like a Trouble in Paradise, I think, type of deal. Um, and he's like, no, 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 like we'll have him run. So then we go, we get the TV, we go, we do the thing, and none of it happens the way that we planned. Um, I think Triple H grabs him and throws him on the table. And I think we had talked about at some point, like Heyman kind of maybe backing us up and taking a step forward, like he was going to be fucking cool. Like there was, I think there was something in there, um, to create some distance so that like when Heyman got bipped, the two guys would jump Triple H and I would go to Heyman. And he just grabbed him, chucked him on the table, and whatever we had talked about in the ring didn't fucking happen when we got to TV. So we do the thing, and we do the spot, and we have that minute, and I bail, and as soon as my feet hit the floor, I hear "you fucking pussy," and I turn, and it's like this 6-year-old kid, and I thought, what? I get we're in Pittsburgh, but like, come on, kid, like, give me a break, I run to the back and I run into Dean Ambrose. He's like, "You better get back out there. They're gonna fuck him up." And he's like turning me around and pushing me like back through the curtain. And I was like, "Ah, yeah, this is cool." And I gotta fucking go home tomorrow. That part sucks, but um, it was, and it hit me like it's nothing different than what we're doing in a fucking bingo hall or an armory or a gym or a American Legion. There's just $1 billion behind what they're doing. There's a lot more lights and a lot more fucking people. And but it's the same exact fucking shtick. It's, hey, can you guys clear the ring? We want to run whatever in there. Is the ladder, what kind of ladder, will that work? Hey, climb up there, get it. Well, maybe we can fucking support it this way, or you guys have a spot. It's all the same shit. And it hit me like, oh, this is, I don't know why I was freaking out. Like this, there's nothing to this. Like it's all I've done this before. It all felt really natural. Like I've done this before. And then we just went out and did it, and did none of it went to plan. And I was like, this is perfect. We do the thing, and we rock and roll. And the next day we were in Cincinnati, which was a SmackDown. They tape it, and I think they were airing it on Friday. And they kind of gave us like the pity man. Hey, thanks for coming down. Now we'll throw you in the ring. We can't do it on Monday. We got live TV to plan, but it's Tuesday, so we'll get you a promo with Matt Stryker, and then we'll have William Regal watch your matches. And Justin and I paired up, Justin Maine, and he ended up getting a cut on his elbow and started bleeding. And it wasn't like a lot of blood or bad, but it was definitely one of those things like, you're a fucking extra. You're not getting blood on this canvas where we have to swap it out. Get the fuck out of the ring. Go see the trainer. Go get fucking taped up. And we were like, oh, and we never got to do the finish, which part of me was glad because I'm almost positive I'd have gotten my shit just fucking rocked. And like I'd be missing jaw or teeth or whatever. But like I also feel like we had a really good grasp on, like a physical, like we had a physical opening, and it was really, really nice to do some stuff and then know that everybody's watching you. Like, okay, there's JBL's over here, and Regal and Stryker are over here, and Cody's over here, and Big E's over, and all of a sudden, I think we did like a lock up, he got me, lock up, he got me, lock up, and I threw him to the ground, and it was this nice big boom, and I felt like everybody stopped, looked and saw what we were doing, and then the biggest thing was just, Regal gave us a bunch of, because they put us with William Regal for the 2 days, and Regal gave us a bunch of like, well, now you got to understand that you've got to work and you've got to do it this way, and then that you do it this way because the camera picks it up here and blah, 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 blah. So he's kind of giving us the answers to the test that they're going to give us tomorrow. And all I could think about was like, if we do this, it has to be this way so that pow, he can go down. He can look up and see the hard camera. I'm going to be up facing the hard camera. If we do it this way, it works, and we'll be fine. And anything after that, then we can get by. But like if we botch this opening because it's TV, it's gonna be iffy. And then they kind of pulled us aside, and or they took him aside, and then Stryker, he's like, hey, Regal likes you. There's your face and your strikes. I go, I can tell that he's going to talk to you later. And we chatted, and it was one of those like, I never really had the best physique and the best size. He was, but when I hit people, there was no question whether or not it was real. It was, and you've got that, and you've got to protect that. You've got to make sure that and you're a tall fella, and you put new weight on. You've really got to make sure that you protect that. You know how to use that. And I'm just
I mean,
like my brain is short circuiting because it's one thing. It goes right. Oh, good shit, kid. Good stuff, kid. And that they fucking walk off. And here's the guy who's been doing it for 30 years, and you've watched him on TV and all these angles, and he had all of his some of his best moments were bullshit comedy acts, and here he's giving you the business, and then he's like, I've got all your faces pegged, so don't not a fucking one of you go off and say you're as seen on WWE because we'll never fucking use you again. And it's one of the okay, he's giving us he's giving us the playbook.
yeah,
Um,
that says a lot because a lot of people are highly on Regal as like a teacher and trainer and
oh
mind.
yeah. And then, we did that, and then, later that year, I was in a car accident, I put on 70 pounds, and fucking here we are, brother.
Yeah, well, and honestly, man, well, and honestly, dude, because that's and one of the things, and like to get behind the curtain a little bit, and I'm not just saying it because you're here, but it's the truth. Like you're one of the most like loved guys in the locker room, since I've been there, and since you came back to the HWF. And when we found out about, I think it was through Mark, I found out about your car wreck. I was really scared for you because from what I understand, it was pretty bad, and and to see you overcome that where you are now. I mean, how long ago has it been since that accident?
It was September of 2013, um, and, it looked a lot worse, I think, in the photos, because every September they pop up, and then oh god, every now and again, like my ex-wife will send me a thing like, "Hey, like happy almost dying anniversary," or
Oh,
I'll get
gee.
buddies that are like, "Hey, happy almost you got killed anniversary." I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, that's right, the 17th, that's right."
Oh, jeez.
But it did it all looked worse, because my face got busted open, and I lost like half a finger, and my back was broken. I broke my collarbone. I broke my right arm. I got a big scoop of meat taken out of my ankle. Like it all looked really, really bad. I mean, I guess at the time it was pretty fucking bad, but I remember like 2 months later, a girlfriend of mine had gotten married, and this arm is broken. I can't. I can see the scar here.
Oh yeah, I
So
see it.
this is in a splint. I can't use it. My finger has been ripped in half. Right,
Yikes.
it totally flopped. So this is in like a big contraption. I can't use that. And I've got to put a fucking suit on to go to a wedding. Haven't used my hands in a month and a half, 2 months. Um, I'm trying to put my suit on. It's a black suit, and I'm trying to put the thing together, and I can't get the hand strength to go and grab the stuff and do the button. And I'm there, and I'm trying to, I'm like a Michael J. Fox trying to hold an etch a sketch, and it's not working. And then finally, I get it in. It doesn't fit. It's fucking three sizes too small. It feels like, and that's when I realized, like, oh, maybe I've put some weight on. And then I look down, and my entire crotch is covered in white powder. And I thought, what is this? And my buddy Joe was like, hey, you I can't fix that for you. You got I ain't I love you, but I ain't helping you with that shit. You gotta fix that yourself. I'll give you a minute. And he fucking walks out of our apartment. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? And then it dawned on me that I go to wash my hands, and because my hand is in a splint up to here, and my fingers have been like this for the better part of 2 months, and this hand is in like a big contraption. It's all wrapped up. The inside of my palm hasn't seen any action. It was all the dead skin and the
Oh,
friction.
jeez.
All the friction and the dead skin had
Holy
just
crap.
littered my crotch, and it was all over my fucking bipper. And we got to the wedding just as they were saying their fucking I do's, and I've got this giant stain on my crotch. I'm still also in a neck collar, I think.
Oh my lord.
Um, and it's one of those. She's like, you could have just worn like shorts and a t-shirt. You really didn't have to like do, you didn't have to really do this. And I ended up going to a doctor maybe a week or so later for my back, and they give you the height and weight and all that BS, and I was like 60 pounds heavier in like 2.5, almost like 3 months. And I
Yikes.
thought, ooh, that's
Ooh, man.
that's not good. You know, I went from like 220 to like 260, 270. What seemed
Wow.
like it like that. And I got it back down. I was like 250, 240. And then slowly it just started to kind of creep and creep and creep. And then I was around 270 pretty strictly for like 5 years. So like 13 or 14, 15, right around like COVID. Um, maybe 280 going into COVID. And then it was one of those things where it was like, uh-oh, my trouble. Okay. Old ladies coming down, waving the pen at me. It was one of those things where like I I was going to get my Achilles. I had really bad tendonitis in my Achilles. And I thought, you know what? I wonder if I can get up to 300 pounds. And of course, I did it the wrong way. I just ate a bunch of fucking Burger King and drank a bunch of milkshakes. And I got to like 301. And I'm like, all right, did it. I can say I was 300 pounds. It's a notch in my cap. And your notch on the belt, feather in the cap. And now time to hit the gym, lose some weight. Except I've got this tendonitis and I can't run, can't jog. I can't really walk uphill comfortably. Uh, there's not much I can really do. My wife at the time and I, we were not very uh, active, so that kind of cardio was out. And my son was, oh God, he was probably like 3. Yeah, I'd say he was like 3, maybe 4. So I'm like at the gym on a recumbent bike, just pedaling my fat little ass off, get my weight back down. And you know, my son's mother and I, we split up. I lose a little bit more weight. Um, and then it's bup, 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 bup. We're kind of coming out of COVID. I just noticed that like everything is just a little bit more difficult. Got to turn a certain way to put my shoes on. Got to turn a certain way to take my shoes off. Put my socks on. Hop on the scale. I'm 305. What the fuck is this?
What?
And then it was, man, and this was just recently, within the last year. I'm hungry all the time. Eat a little bit, 20, 30 minutes later, nope, more. and I felt like I had to eat more just to sustain my current weight. And I thought, this is something. What the fuck is going on? And I'm also coming off of a 2-year run of being violently ill, like clockwork, every 3 months. I missed a bunch of CCW shows for Rob Noxious. I missed some Valor shows for Adrian Bliss. I missed a lot of work, and I only went and got it checked out when I started missing wrestling shows because now I can't do the thing that I enjoy that keeps my fucking stress down. I'm missing work. I'm not getting paid. I'm blowing through vacation time. I'm I'm really starting to get annoyed. I'm also starting to get a little worried because it would be like Black Friday weekend, so November, January, February, March, no, December, January, February, I'd get sick. February, March, April, May, I'd get sick. May, June, July, August, my birthday, I'd get sick. August, September, October, November, Black Friday again, I'd get sick. February, May, August, November, February, and this went on for like 2.5 years. And I finally was like, all right, I got to go to a doctor because like this is weird. And I am not a conspiracy theorist. I I got my COVID shot, and I'm not one of these, you know, did it because I was told to. It at the time with the info that I had, it seemed to make sense. Vaccines need a couple things. They need money and they need doctors. And there were a lot of doctors working, and there was a lot of money getting thrown at this thing. So it seemed safe. It seemed like the responsible thing to do. Got my jab, no issues with it. But now all of a sudden I'm thinking like, I don't want to be that guy. But this all started around that fucking time. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying. Just saying. Also, I don't want it to, find out that I got pancreatic cancer or something like that. I got like 6 weeks to live, and I'm not going to get a chance to blow my money on strippers and hookers and cocaine. So, I also don't want to have to go back and tell my new wife that, sorry, you were right. I should have looked at this earlier because she'll never fucking let me live it down. Um, so I'm coming off that. I'm going to my doctor. I get everything straightened out. I've been really good for about 2 years now, and I just go back to get some blood work done because I'm coming up on 40 this year, and I hop on the scale and it's fucking 318. And
Yikes.
and it hits me like I weigh the same amount as the Undertaker in WWF Warzone when that video game came out. And I'm like, I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking, there's no way that I weigh more than Brock Lesnar. There's no way that I weigh the same as Kevin Nash. You start going through the Rolodex of, you know, height, weight from this city, this superstar, and you're like, man, like I weigh more than these guys, McIntyre and Sheamus, and this man, I am one fat son of a bitch, and all my weight is knees to nipples. So the only good thing I have going for me, and my buddy Zach Rain always told me this. He's like, "You've got such big legs. You look so formidable. If you ever cover your legs, I swear to God, I'll punch you in your effing face." Because Zach don't swear because he loves. I think he loves the Jesus. I don't know if it's like Jesus or like Wish version G, but he loves a different version of Jesus, I think, than other people. But absolutely great dude. I went to
Oh,
high
that's
school with his, I went to high school with his wife. He hits me up on Facebook like, "Hey, do you know this girl?" "Oh yeah." He's like, "Oh, she's my wife." And I'm like, "Man, did I try to fuck her? Did I send her a naked picture? Like, did I do something? Is this, oh my God." And it's like, "Yeah, she saw you online. She saw you're a wrestler, and I'm a wrestler too. Do you want to be friends?" And I was like, "Oh, thank God.
oh, I love
Yeah, we
Zach.
can be
Zach's good
buddies."
dude.
And we've been, dare I say, wrestling best friends ever since. And this was like 10 years ago. It's awesome. He's the cat's nuts, man. I love that dude. And his wife, she's way too hot for him. Dee Dee's smoking hot. There's no way he deserves her at all. but she's a giant Bigfoot freak. So she's weird too. They're perfect for each other. Um, but like it was just one of those things, and I was like, oh man, it's like if you ever cover your legs, I'll punch you in your effing face. And I didn't feel big, but I had a lot of people telling me, you big boy, you big guy, you're big man, yeah, big man, wrestle like a big man. I didn't know what that meant, so I'd go back and I'd watch, Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, and Vader, and some of the some of Taker and Kane and Big Show, and just to see how those guys move and how they sell differently. And it's weird, but I never thought that I'd have to change the way that I wrestle and almost like relearn everything 20 years in.
Well, you never
And
stop learning.
it's no, and you know what, you really don't, but it's nice because I feel like this will let me wrestle longer. This will help me. I if I wrestle this way, I can wrestle until I'm 50. And I don't plan on stopping, unless the shit really hits the fan, or I hit the lottery, or something crazy like that. But I'd like to go as long as I can. I'd like to be useful as long as I can. I'm very realistic about where I'm at in the business. I know I'm not I'm not getting signed. I'm not getting it's very nice what Matt is letting me do with his company, but I feel like it's a means to an end. It's not, hey, you're the champ because you're the best and you're gonna have the best matches and the best work rate. It's a gimmick. I'm the champion so that I can elevate his next guy. Um, and I really feel like I can contribute that way of, okay, who do you have that you really want to get over? Okay. Do you have somebody that can equal them and bring them up? No? Great. Let me help you. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's some ideas. What do you want to do? Can we do business? That's what I'm really interested in doing now. Or, working with new guys who need a little like, hey, I got this kid. Um, he needs some reps. He needs to be in the ring with somebody who's not a total moron and who gets it and who will take care of him. Um, Good buddy of mine, Max Havoc, Jason Havoc, is training. He's kind of taken over Mark's school. It's now Workers University. Um, and he's got a boatload of students. And like my goal now is to work those kids when they need a match. Jason will say that he's all old and beaten up and cripple until you piss him off, and then he's going to get in the ring and rip your face off. But he's got a bunch of kids who can go, and I if I can get in the ring with them, let them go, and then shut them down, and then let them, and give them that match, give them the experience and the reps that, okay, great. Now you kind of know how this works now. Now we can, start to let them off the leash, let them off the tether, and then, finally, when Jason is ready, they can go out into the wild and do their own thing, trained by Jason Havoc, trained by Max Havoc, and rock and roll. That's the stuff that really interests me now. And what kind of gimmicks can we pull to make something interesting? What can we do? What can we add to whatever you have going on at your company to make something just a little bit more? And if we can do that, then we can figure out how to make the next thing a little bit more. I've never really had a gimmick. I've always been um, what I feel like a really good utility player. Um, one company, hey man, I need a white meat baby face, just so happy to fight anyone, anyway, anytime. We'll do it. Okay, yeah, I can do that for you. I'd love to use you, but you're so young. I need a heel. I need like a grizzled, bitter heel. Well, hold on, because I can get a haircut and I can do that for you. All right? Yeah, you think so? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've worked enough with those guys to kind of be able to. I could do that for you. I need a baby face who is redeemed. So I heal that'll turn baby because I got this guy coming up, and I want to make him a big bad monster heel, but he doesn't have anybody to go against who can kind of match him on maybe a scumbaggy of fists kind of way. No, I can do that for you. So I filled a lot of different roles at a lot of different places, and I think I did that to my detriment because I never really had a gimmick, you know, that could earn me some money and make me probably more profitable. um
Well, speaking of gimmicks, because one of the things I was excited, since I've been covering for Hometown Sports Magazine, the HWF, I was excited to see you back. And one of the things that I've noticed too was you happen to like to bring a bottle of milk with you to the ring.
you know
How
I
did that
I
happen?
do. So I don't know, maybe my gimmick is I've got too many gimmicks. Um, but that kind of started as a gag with my buddy Laszlo Arpad. So after my divorce, we would hang out and we'd go to Harrisburg, we'd drink, we'd pick up girls, hoping that we could have sex with them, right?
Okay.
And and we would have a blast and we would all have a good time, and then it was like, man, like we should do this, this should be a thing, we should be a tag team, we could be like the Boon Daddies and just go out and pick up chicks and bang them and like catch and release fishing. And I was like, that would kind of be fun. I don't know if we can call ourselves that might be tricky to put on a t-shirt, but like I'm sure we could, two dudes going out on the town, picking up chicks, having fun. Like, people are gonna hate us because we're, two big, good-looking dudes, and it. Not a whole lot of people that come to wrestling shows are, big and good looking, and some of the chicks that come to the show, they're pretty good looking. We it's like, then we take their women and then they fuck them. It's like, yeah, we're gonna be heels. But It's it's got this baby face kind of quality, but we're giant scumbag. This could work. This could work. So in the middle of all this, it was, he became Lazzy Daddy and I became Eddie Baby, and we were team Baby Daddy. And when you meet a single mom and she's got some kids and you're done doing what you're doing with her, you walk out, you take some fruit snacks, you take the kids Hawaiian punch. If she's got a little baby, maybe you take the milk out of the fridge. Because that's what daddy was going to do when he left your sorry ass. He went out for milk and he never came home. So when Matt called me about coming back to Lewistown, I was like, oh yeah, it's like daddy's coming home with the milk. And I kind of was like, ooh, you know what? I wonder if that would. I wonder how that would go. Well, yeah. And there's a really good scene. I think it's in Iron Man 2. He comes into his workshop and he's like, he claps and he's like at his computer and he's like waking everything up, and it's like, wake up, daddy's home. I was like, man, what a cool thing. Like, this drunk womanizer, just like, what a smooth dude. And the movie's totally underplayed how much of a scumbag Tony Stark is. But like that moment, like that scene was just, man, so fucking cool. And I thought, I should get a thing of milk, and that should be like the shtick, and ha 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 ha. Because then at some point I thought, well, the milk's got to get dumped on somebody. It's got to come out. Um, and maybe that's a good thing to do if I ever turn heel, is to dump the milk and find someone to pour it on and go from there. But the whole thing really just started out as a gag, and now it's kind of become this thing. And the one gal down there, her daughter calls me the milkman, and she's like, yeah, that's how she knows you. You're the guy that comes out with the milk. And I'm like, that's excellent. Like,
That's awesome.
she don't know nothing else, but she knows, oh, that's the milkman. Like, that's the guy that has the gallon of milk. And that's pretty cool. And now I'm trying to think, like, all right, well, what can I do to take this and make it more, um So as we kind of go with HWF, there'll be some things that folks will start to like see that we're trying to not so much elevate my status in the company, but elevate the gimmick to include more things. I feel like there's a lot that, like I said, there's a lot physically that I can still offer, um, even though I don't necessarily have to wrestle all the time either. And I know at some point I'm not going to be able to wrestle, but I still feel like I'll still have something to offer physically. So to start to develop a bit of a shtick that I can carry into HWF or Workers Pro, or Mid Atlantic Championship, Mid Atlantic Wrestling, or the Central Wrestling Coalition. Things like that that I can still contribute and work to get somebody over. And I mean I, I just want to take bumps, man. Like, I just want to take bumps and make people react and elevate somebody else. That's really all I wanted to do in wrestling. Um, and it's nice that I've gotten the chance to do that.
Yeah, and honestly, and you mentioned, and I'm not trying to like, hopefully you'll be able to wrestle for as long as you want, but whenever your time in the ring ends, like how would you like to be remembered, Ed?
Uh, Second biggest dickhead in the locker room, first biggest dick in the locker room. That would be tremendous. But it's a Laszlo can't be on those shows because he's Hungarian, and
Oh, jeez.
it's not. I call him the Hungarian, and he hates it. He absolutely hates it, and I love it. Um, because his dick is this big. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
Oh, Jesus.
Um, he hates when
Oh,
I talk
jeez.
about it. But yeah, I call him my Hungarian hero. And he's like, "The Bubba, you can't. No, the Aryan part, you can't. You can't." I go, "What? You tall? You got blue eyes? You got blonde hair? You're beautiful. You're beautiful, Bubba."
Oh,
Shut up! You can't. You can't say that. You can't say that. Um, Shut up, Laszlo. You stupid foreigner.
oh, jeez.
I had no idea his Hungarian thing was like legit. I always thought it was bullshit. I thought it was a shtick. I was like, man, this guy's even doing the accent in the locker room. Like, yeah, fuck, cool it, dude. Like, I know you're from Jersey. Like, chill the fuck out. And then he would, oh no, you're back home in the Budapest. Blah 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 blah. It's like, oh, he's really from over there. Had no idea. Let's ruin his use of the English language, shall we? We had a trip out to Pittsburgh a couple years after meeting him that we had him torqued out pretty good. It was a good time.
Oh, jeez.
Um, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the goal is to, I don't know. I like to just be like, oh yeah, dude, every time you can have a good match with anybody. You have a good match with anybody, and like got it, was like selfless, wasn't selfish, wasn't a prick, like easy to work with, and like just dude got it, would do whatever he needed for the spot or the match or the angle or the guy. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Well, Ed, I would like to thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Yeah, no problem, brother. No problem. It was a good time. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, it's good talking to you too, man. It's good to hear from you, and especially from what all you've been through and see what you have overcome. I'm so happy for you, man.
I appreciate that, dude. I appreciate that.
And once again, I would like to say thank you for coming on, and to all of you watching, I love you all, and God bless. Be safe, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Uh-huh.